What if I told you that the real secret to happiness isn't about what you have, but about what you do? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea called flow, from the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. And trust me, it might just change the way you look at your own life.
All right, so let's just jump right in with the big one. The question we've all asked ourselves at some point. If I just had a little more money, a bigger house, a nicer car, would I finally be happy? It seems like the answer should be a simple yes, doesn't it?
Well, here's where things get interesting. The data tells a totally different story. Since the 1950s, the average income per person in the US has pretty much tripled. We have way more stuff, bigger houses, all of it. But the number of people who say they're very happy, it has stayed completely flat. It hasn't budged. That tells us something huge. Once our basic needs are covered, more money isn't the answer. The real key to happiness? Well, it has to be somewhere else.
And the search for that somewhere else actually begins in a pretty surprising place, the rubble of post-World War II Europe. For a young Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, this wasn't just some academic puzzle. It was deeply, deeply personal. Think about it. As a kid, he saw the adults around him lose everything, their homes, their jobs, their sense of security. But he noticed something really strange. Some people, even with nothing, managed to find real contentment, a sense of meaning. And others, who were maybe a bit more secure, were just miserable. That's when it hit him. A good life isn't about what you have. It's about how you manage what's going on inside your own head. So to figure this out, he basically became a detective. He started seeking out people who were true masters of what they did, not for fame or money, but just for the sheer love of doing it. He talked to artists, scientists, athletes, poets, anyone he could find, looking for that common thread, that secret ingredient in their best moments.
And the clues, well, they started to appear. A composer told him about this state of being so absorbed that it feels like you almost don't exist. He said, "My hand seems to be moving by itself. The music just happened through him."
Then, a poet described a really similar feeling, but she used totally different words. For her, it was like opening a door floating in the sky, this sense of effortless discovery of stepping into another world.
And this wasn't just for artists. An Olympic skater talked about being in the zone, where you stop thinking and your body just knows what to do. You literally merge with the music. Are you seeing the pattern here? It's this deep, effortless, all-in feeling, no matter what the activity is.
All these incredible descriptions from all these different people, they were all pointing to the exact same powerful state of mind. A state that, as he soon realized, might just be the optimal experience a human being can have.
Now, to really get this, we have to look at the word ecstasy. We usually think of it as, just losing control. But the original Greek, ekstasis, literally means to stand to the side of something. It's about stepping outside of the everyday chaos of our minds, into a reality that's more focused, more ordered, and completely in our control.
And that's what led him to give this experience a new name. Because so many people described it as this effortless, spontaneous current carrying them along, he called it flow. It's that feeling, that state, where you are so completely absorbed in what you're doing that everything else in the world just melts away.
So how does this actually work in our brains? Well, it all comes down to processing power. Think of your conscious mind like it has a certain amount of bandwidth. And researchers estimate that our brains can process about 110 bits of information per second. That's it. That's our total capacity at any given moment.
Okay, so here's why that 110-bit limit is a total game changer. Right now, just to listen to me and understand what I'm saying, that's taking up about 60 bits of your attention. This leaves a lot of leftover brain power for your mind to wander, right? You can worry about that deadline or feel a little self-conscious. But when you're in a state of flow, the activity you're doing demands all 110 bits. Your attention is completely saturated. There's literally no mental space left for anything else. Your worries, your sense of self, hunger, the passage of time, it all just vanishes. So we know what flow is, and we have a pretty good idea of what's happening in the brain. But the big question is, how do we get there? Well, Csikszentmihalyi found a set of conditions that are almost always present during these peak experiences. So these are the 7 big ones. It all starts with having really clear goals. You know exactly what you need to do, and you're getting immediate feedback on how you're doing. And then there's this perfect balance. The task is doable, you know you can do it, but it's just challenging enough to really stretch your skills. And when all that clicks into place, everything else follows. You get that intense concentration, your sense of time gets all warped, you lose that nagging self-consciousness, and you feel that sense of ecstasy, that pure joy in the activity itself. Now, I know this can all sound a little abstract, but this is where it gets really practical. Csikszentmihalyi created a simple model that you can use to find and create more flow in your own life. He called it the flow channel.
It really all boils down to the balance between two things. On one axis, you have the level of challenge, and on the other, you have your level of skill. And flow, that magic sweet spot, happens right up there in the top right corner, where a high challenge is met with high skill.
Okay, let's start in the bottom left with apathy. This is the zone of low challenge and low skill. This is you mindlessly scrolling on your phone or flipping through TV channels. Your skills aren't being used and nothing is challenging you. It's basically the land of boredom. And honestly, we spend way more of our free time here than we think.
Now, the other two zones are like gateways to flow. Let's look at arousal. Here, the challenge is high, but your skills aren't quite there yet. This is the learning zone. It can feel a little stressful, sure, but this is where you grow your skills to meet that challenge. Then you have control. Here, your skill level is high, but the task is kind of easy. It's comfortable, but to find that real excitement, you've got to ramp up the difficulty.
And that brings us right back here to the flow channel. This is the sweet spot. This is playing a sport you love against a tough opponent, tackling a hard problem at work that you're perfectly trained for, or just getting lost in a creative project. This is where we are truly at our best, and it turns out, at our happiest.
So the big takeaway here is really a question for you. Take a look at your own life, your work, your hobbies, your downtime. Where can you increase the challenge to match your skills? Or where do you need to build your skills to meet a challenge that excites you? Because actively designing more of that optimal experience into your life, well, that turns out to be the real secret to a happy and meaningful life.